Florida real estate deal. Hey, welcome to Let Him Talk. I'm Paul DeRienzo. Got a great show in store for you, and we were just discussing Mar-a-Lago and whether global warming would lead to its flooding.
Well, the question is,
With
can
my
Trump
guest-
find some suckers to buy it? Because it's going to be, I wouldn't buy it. It's going to be underwater.
Yeah, I was saying that, of course,
Maybe faster than we thought.
when it comes to Florida real estate, Donald Trump's the master, right?
The thing is, it's sitting on very porous limestone, so the water, even if you build a wall, the water will come up.
Build a wall and the water will come anyway.
Yeah.
You can't keep the water out. Well, my guest is Dana Beal. You know, Dana, he's been on the show a few times, and he's the organizer.
And we're talking
founder.
about the topic of the day always is Donald Trump.
Donald Trump,
and his the signals he's sending to law enforcement to get basically to get their own head and like go out and shoot a few black teenagers or well, he's hanging out with, he wants to hang out with Duterte.
Well,
maybe
remember,
if he kills a few hundred
remember Giuliani
black
time?
teenagers, Duterte will deign to visit.
Yeah.
Because Duterte turned him down.
Oh, the president of the Philippines.
Yeah.
The guy who murders, right?
Yeah,
he wasn't bloodthirsty enough.
Yeah.
Trump he hadn't entered
They did kill
brotherhood.
one kid in Texas, with a rifle.
And
when
there
he
was the
was
kid
driving
who was,
away.
well, how about the kid who was running and the cop shot him in the back 5 times?
Maybe they can
and he'll get off
qualify
a few days in
to
jail
meet
or
with the
something.
dictator of the Philippines. But in the marijuana scene, it's interesting that our good friend Adam Eidinger, the creator of the Giant Joint, which is going to be at the parade
Who legalized marijuana in Washington, D.C.
this week. He
The
legalized,
chief organizer.
and he went with pot to Congress. And they told him ahead of time, they said, we have new marching orders from Jeff Sessions. And the people who, before, nothing happened to them when they passed out pot, this time they were arrested.
Really?
And
How did
Adam was
if
got
marijuana is legal.
extra, his charges were not dropped because he had 2.7 grams over the limit.
Wow. So he was the one who on January 20th gave out. It was a very famous story. Adam was the person who organized the distribution of thousands of marijuana cigarettes.
And all the Trump voters came
over
and smoked pot.
Of course, everybody knows that.
Because everybody smokes pot now. It's 60% of the country smokes pot.
Right, half the Trump supporters smoke.
So how are they going to put the genie back in the bottle? Well, in Philadelphia, they were having a smoke easy with Nicky Allen Poe, and the cops came and arrested 175 people, seized 50 pounds of pot, and
That's minimal amount.
because Nicky Allen Poe was a staunch libertarian, they had some firearms present.
Oh, right.
So they could get them under federal law for, if you have firearms in the commission of a marijuana, that's a whole separate crime.
That's you separately have to defend, even if they drop the pot charge.
Well, no, it becomes a compounding factor.
Right.
And it makes the pot, makes the 50 pounds. I guess the 50 pounds is incriminating.
Well, I was at the May Day.
5,000 pounds.
I was at the May Day rally yesterday in Foley Square and at Union Square as well, and I noticed that the Nazis, and they were Nazis. I guess they were carrying all kinds of fascists and Nazi regalia and flags and stuff, and they were wearing masks. And the police said nothing, but then the police went to the anarchists and said, you'll be arrested immediately if you put on a mask. It's illegal in New York. But then they allowed the Nazis, who were there too in Foley Square, counter-protesting. No, they were Nazis. I mean, they had these black flags with this weird Meccano. It looked anarchist at first, and it fooled people, and they got into the middle of the crowd, and everybody realized it was some sort of fascist symbolism on this black flag. And they were wearing these like black and white American flag face masks covering their face. And then the crowd realized it, and the security people got in there before the anarchists and the other radicals could get there, and got together and started forcing them out. And the police came in at the end, just as the fascists, the Nazis, were being driven off. But anybody who takes an extreme right-wing position, anti-immigrant, anti-racist position, and then goes around in stomp boots wearing ugly sci-fi masks and carrying bizarre symbols on black and white or black and white and red flags is Nazi.
All right.
That's pretty Nazi.
Yeah. Anyway, so
it's not pleasant.
Well, the question became, with the Nicky Allen Poe thing, I said, this is like the cannabis social clubs in Europe. They have these cannabis social clubs in countries like Spain and so on, where it's become de facto legal. And this is what they've been trying to do in Philadelphia, is de facto legality. And this shows that, you know, the wind blowing from Vichy, you know, the Trump wind.
Yeah. Well, they're hiring a lot of their people, right? I mean, if they're opening up the...
Can, like, get the cops to sit up and, you know, smell the coffee. Oh, it's illegal again.
So, okay, we know...
No, but the interesting thing was there was a byplay where, you know, there's a guy named Yanko Beal in Europe said, no, it's not. And I said, but Nicky Allen Poe smoked pot at the Liberty Bell and was on federal probation for a couple years and led the charge to get de facto legalization in Philadelphia. Right. So him running this thing, even if there's a lot of pot, makes it like the equivalent of the cannabis social clubs.
It's like
and somebody else said, but it was 50 pounds. And I said, Tom Forsyth used to say,
yes,
there's two kinds of pot dealers.
Yeah.
Ones that need a forklift and ones that don't.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear of any forklift in the story with the 50 pounds, so it's not enough to be a lot of pot.
Right.
And then I showed them the pictures of Steve D'Angelo's coming farm in California, where they will need a forklift. And that is totally legal. So, you know, it's all, you know, basically...
Well, how can this go on, this patchwork of laws? What's going to happen where you have places that still are enforcing the old prohibition?
There is no threat from pot.
But somehow
it is
thinks it's a
the safest therapeutically active substance known to man.
But some people think it's politically a threat.
Instead of like tobacco, which gives 500,000 people a year cancer, or alcohol, which, you know, causes you to beat your wife, and 50,000 traffic accidents, marijuana kills no one. The safest thing would be for the entire country to be shifted off of drugs, tobacco, and alcohol onto cannabis. And that is our message Saturday. And you've got to be there. Saturday morning at 11 o'clock at Broadway and 31st Street. The marijuana parade is coming.
Right.
And we're coming to New York, and we smoke pot legally that one day. The police say, we'll let you get away with it this one day, right? But don't try this all the time. And basically, you know, we want to see if under Bill de Blasio...
they've under Bill de Blasio, they've been allowing people to smoke as much weed as they want at these events.
We can have a find out if you know, multiculturalism and identity politics extends to the humble marijuana smoker. Right. Because you know. What I say, 60% of the country is ready to legalize it right now. 93% is for medical.
Yeah,
and you know,
well, Florida got 70.
This woman called me up from Arizona.
Yeah.
Cindy calls me up and says, well, there was an online poll and 6,000 people were for legalizing it, and only 398 were for keeping it illegal.
Right.
Well, Paul, as purely a practical matter, if you're going out to, like, and some people have to go to jail in order for the private prisons to exist and stuff.
Right. That's why.
Is it better for the 6,000 people to be arrested or the 398 to be arrested? It just seems to me to be less problems for everybody if we turn things around and said, look, it's false imprisonment. There's no threat to public safety. It's a positive good in terms of harm reduction and public health. So let's get the people who are involved in this scheme of false imprisonment and lock them up.
Abraham Lincoln addressed this very problem.
Yeah.
When he was talking about the Copperheads who were running as Democrats against him in 1864, who had freedom of speech to decry a war, a civil war in the midst of that civil war, and Lincoln at the same time was ordering young boys executed for stealing a horse in the battlefield or something like that, and trying to save some of them, and some of them had to be executed. And he said, why must I execute an 18-year-old boy who was confused and made a mistake, and a treasonous vampire like this guy gets to speak out all he wants?
Well, this is a problem with people around Rudolph Giuliani, Chris Christie, and Jeff Sessions. And this new guy, Marino, is going to be the drug czar. And he is in favor of, you know, the Drug Policy Alliance right now is doing a big drive to have safe injection sites. This guy Marino wants to arrest all nonviolent drug users, pot or other drugs, like the people who would putatively use the safe injection site,
Right.
and put them in a hospital/private prison.
Okay.
Right. That's, so this is not settled.
Mm-hmm.
It's being
Right. As we
threshed
speak.
out right now as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
And tonight on National Geographic
Cool.
at 10 o'clock, and I guess anybody who gets Manhattan Neighborhood Network is got cable, right?
Yeah.
So you go to the National Geographic, and there's 1 hour of Jeff Kamlet
Unless
treating
Yeah.
an opiate addict, and it follows it for months after the treatment. So you see the impact of the psychedelic realization on this person, and the fact that it completely gets rid of the withdrawal and craving for months. This is on the air tonight. It's not going to be as impactful as Sanjay Gupta with a little girl with the non-psychoactive cannabis oil and getting rid of 300 seizures in front of your eyes, but it'll do something, and I want you to watch it. I want you to watch it.
People don't realize that the non-psychoactive part of cannabis has been found to be fantastically effective
for a
medicine,
number of medical conditions. Yeah.
Right, and it's being blocked because although it has nothing of the THC that gets you high,
it's like hemp.
It wouldn't get you high at all.
It's the stuff that's in hemp. The hemp,
and it can cure people.
The hemp,
because
the hemp
it comes
that would
from,
save the planet. The hemp that would,
Yeah.
you could replace all fuel, fiber, and paper and food.
You can't get
with
high
hemp.
from it.
You can't get high from it, and this has got the CBD in it.
And it's still banned. And people,
it's still banned
and it's the
because
same laws.
Our cops are too stupid to tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they can have like detectors that can sniff THC, and the cops are too stupid to allow non-psychoactive hemp. And we really need to do some things about this global warming, and one of them is to convert millions of acres of land that isn't very good for anything, except that hemp will grow there because it has a deep taproot, and it's very hardy.
It goes down far, deep,
right?
and gets water.
And
cannabis is one of the great, the driest conditions it can grow in because of that deep root it sinks down.
Right. So this is part of the a puzzle we're trying to put together to save the planet, but I don't know whether people really call in anymore on this show.
Yeah, we could put up the phone. If we could put up the phone number, give people an opportunity to call in the show.
Yeah, there it is.
Thank you.
See, what we want to do is we want to get the people, who are in the audience to call the mayor's wife, because she is supposedly really concerned about the heroin problem. They put her in charge of the mayor's heroin task force.
Right, and it is a serious problem. But
it is a serious problem. So if they're serious, are they serious enough to watch Nat Geo tonight?
Well, right.
I mean, somebody can like record it and send the disc to what's her name again?
To Charlene?
Yeah, to Charlene.
Yeah.
To Charlene. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting.
Mayor de Blasio's wife.
I get all the people in the Trump world are like so vivid, bigger than life, like a Sean Spicer, right?
Yeah, it's bigger idiot than life.
Yeah.
Right.
Poor Trump, poor de Blasio was
even Hitler didn't use gas weapons.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a good one. What a way to put it. Like he put what it's not that he didn't, it's like so idiotic to say such a thing, right? It's like I could think of a million other ways to say that.
Yeah, but the point is you should call in if you have something you want to ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
About,
Dana Beal is here. 757-1541. We're live right now on the air, and this is your chance to get on the air with us.
The radical alternative for drug reform the Cannabis Parade and Ibogaine.
Mm-hmm. As soon as the call comes, just put it right in. If the call comes, just answer it and put it right in as soon as it comes. All right, 212-757-1541. We have the founder, Dana Beal, who's right here with us, is the founder of the Cannabis March that happens every year for half a century now. And it's going to happen this Saturday, and it starts off high noon.
Yep, we're having a big memorial for David Beal.
Right, big memorial for our friend who was on the show, David Beal, who just recently passed.
And you know, there are a lot of people came to his wake on East 7th Street, and they resolved that they were going to show up as a massive David Beal contingent.
So it'll be like a New Orleans funeral in a way too. Like a Cajun
you got
funeral.
Like Hager and Bloom or like
right. So
singing.
it'll be music. We're going to have a great old time. You know, we're going to memorialize our friends. We're going to fight for the future all together. We're going to have a party. We're going to stake out some public space at Union Square Park where pretty much on this event every year, marijuana can be freely smoked in the open, and the police just wander back and forth and don't bother anybody.
Well, we hope, unless you know the prevailing wind.
Well, you have to come in
unless
force.
the prevailing wind is from fishy.
Fishy? Is the prevailing wind smell a little fishy? All right, 212-757-1541 is our number. Dana, I feel like I'm still back. I am back on BAI. By the way, I have a WBAI show again, Dana. 6:30 Thursday, 6:30 to 7 p.m. every Thursday on WBAI.
Really?
Yes, 99.5 FM.
In the evening?
In the evening for half an hour, 6:30 to 7 p.m. I've had it now for about 2 months. It's called Trump Watch with Paul DiRienzo. It was to cover the first 100 days, and now it's like 100 days plus. And we've dealt with a lot of these issues of the environment and science and fake news and drug war and all these kind of things. And so this is a continuation, really, of the type of things.
Well, I just wonder what Trump is going to do because, you know, like he's been revealed to be a toothless big bad wolf. Mm-hmm. And you remember in the Three Little Piggies?
Yes.
One of the pigs
remember it well.
Built his house out of bricks.
Right. He was
and
a smart
when
one.
the wolf came along, oops.
Obamacare,
they can't get rid of it.
They can't get rid of anything. But that's what's scary about Trump is not that he's a
it's
bamboozling boob.
It's
that he never gives up. He keeps doing it.
Some cop somewhere will believe it and go off and arrest your friend.
Yeah.
That's the practical danger of Trump. Not that he'll actually be able to get any, of the more insane things that he is promising or even get a meeting with the dictator of the Philippines. But that, kind of the side effects.
Right. But, I think, Dan, the thing is, and the reason we don't spark the kind of excitement where people are just calling a number and having to scream and yell at us is because I think what you said is right. So many of Trump's supporters smoke marijuana, as well as his opponents, that pot really isn't an issue of debate. It's not really a flashpoint.
Unless, you're a Nicky Allen Poe and you're facing years.
Yeah. Well, and that seems to be. But don't you think you get the impression somebody like Sessions is a grudge guy? He's like settling scores against his people he perceived as his enemies, people who smoked a joint in front of the Liberty Bell, and defiled his concept of what America should be.
I don't know. After that, the police announced a new regime, which I guess has come to an end, that lasted for a couple of years.
Right. Well,
so, if you don't go out and push the envelope, you can't find where the edge of the envelope is.
Who dares say we don't live in fascist times and we don't have a fascist president? Who dares says? Who dares says to pick up the phone and call 212-757-1541 that somehow we don't live in fascist times? The problem is in Manhattan, where this show goes, and even around the world, it's so hard to find anybody who doesn't realize that Trump is a fascist.
Well, there were a lot of people at the Science March.
He's just got his hardcore. They come out in numbers, and they're scary. A lot of them are violent, young violent thugs, or they're put up to it by older guys to do it, do their dirty work. That's what a lot of the reports are saying. But they all probably smoke pot, you're right, and drink beer, too.
I would imagine that they're like, more alcoholic.
More alcoholic.
More alcoholic, yeah.
The more they lean toward the alcohol side.
They lean towards the alcohol, yeah.
Right. They're a bunch of drunks, in other words.
Well, I don't think you should just, dismiss any group and say they're just a bunch of drunks. But I do think that they do lift a stein to der Fuhrer.
Everyone, the beer hall putsch.
They toast.
they're up to the beer hall putsch.
They toast that German guy. Trump is his name.
Yeah, right, Trump. Yeah, the beer hall putsch.
He is actually a German, and the interesting thing was, for some reason, his dad had an affinity for the KKK. It's just documented in the New York Times.
People of color outside, black people outside of his housing projects, had to be taken up on federal charges during like the Nixon years.
Yeah, so
even Nixon, he was too conservative for Nixon.
The thing about the Nazis is not far-fetched. Oh, I got a book. I should have brought it here. I think maybe I have it here actually.
Yeah.
This would be really nice to show people.
By the way, so the Cannabis March is this Saturday, first Saturday in May, and it starts in New York City. It starts at 31st Street and Broadway, which is in Herald Square, at high noon, and it kicks off for a march down Broadway to Union Square Park, where, at least for the last couple of years, there's been a bit of a free zone as far as marijuana, but who knows? Because I said that now, they'll probably feel they have to bust everybody. But if a lot of you all come, we can hold them off and have a free time in the street and enjoy some freedom.
No, I think it'll be pretty good, because I think that the one place where people are defiant of Donald is his own city.
He's coming to town right on Thursday.
People had him here before.
Yeah.
And he got remember the Central Park jogger?
Yeah.
He got the wrong people. Got the wrong guys. He's doesn't have a very good track record with New York. New Yorkers don't really like Donald Trump, even though he's from here.
Well, he's a racist in a very diverse city.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, come on.
It was an interesting thing in the Times this morning. An article about the Trump core constituency of Trump are these Christians who feel that the Christianity is under assault, and they're white Christians. This is not, the multicultural Christians are all with the Democrats, but these guys really feel that like you said, you wanting to preserve the right of a woman to choose is an assault on them.
Right. What if I want to have an abortion? Right. Not that I would have one, but let's say, because I couldn't, because I'm a man.
Right.
Right. But let's say I wasn't, and I were to have an abortion. Somehow that diminishes your religion.
Yeah.
Well, go pray in whatever church you want. Nobody's telling you can't telling you to have an abortion.
It's a little problem, because the other places where this has really caught hold, like Turkey.
Yeah.
Where you have 45% of the country supports Erdogan, and they're very pious.
Minority,
people.
Right?
They're very pious people.
Yeah.
Actually, a clear majority of the country does not really buy that, but this guy is able to.
It's a very modern country for the most part.
Yeah, it's a pretty modern country, but based on that rural support, he's able to stay in power, and this is kind of what Trump is going to do, I would say, is ride the Christian right wing as far as he can. Now, you were speculating before that he has to reach out to somebody new to get actual majority.
Right.
Who do you think he could reach out to, Paul?
Well, I guess the Reagan Democrats, the suburban whites. They're already leaning towards him, and something like a war.
Those guys are already. He has about.
A lot of them went for
36% of the. What does he have? He has 36% or 40%. There's some percentage of the electorate that still love him.
In the high 30s, I think.
But it's not a majority. Where is he going to get? To win in November of next year for the congressional districts. Where is he going to?
Moscow. I meant that as a joke, because I actually don't fall for all of that stuff. I mean, Hillary Clinton was on TV today, and she was saying that it was no coincidence that right when the tape came out of Trump, saying about how he liked to grab women by the pussy, all of a sudden the Blumenthal, I think it was Blumenthal, her campaign chief or somebody from the release of the WikiLeaks release of her emails, showed that happened 2 hours after the pussy grabber tape was released.
Yeah.
She said that's no coincidence, and she called it the Russia WikiLeaks, release.
Well, I called it the Hillary hack.
Yeah, right.
Because
it came like she said 2 hours.
Who is behind the Hillary hack? It's they managed to keep it a little bit vague.
Yeah.
So that
So it seems like it was aimed at countering this devastating blow.
Trump said, "Well,
Trump.
this really helped me, but just a kind of a coincidence that it helped me."
Yeah, right,
I'm not.
Right.
I wasn't really a Russian spy.
Yeah, right. They didn't just do that to try and help me. So that, I guess, in her mind, the timing of the release of the WikiLeaks.
There's a big public movement against Trump here, and now there's an
echo
in Russia. There's some people
emails.
coming out against Putin.
Yeah, the Podesta emails.
The Podesta emails. That was it. You got the
Blumenthal was a couple years earlier. Right?
No, the Podesta emails.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But
well, it's one scandal after another, but that's the nature of the capitalist political game, one scandal after another. They're a bunch of scandalous people. What do you expect? They're all a bunch of money grubbers trying to win control of the government for their faction.
When does the phase shift occur? If there's scandal, when does the scandal actually set in? And two things have to happen. It has to really get the Democrats behind it, but you have to get a bunch of people like John McCain to defect to the impeachment movement.
Remember Sam Ervin?
Yeah.
He did that, right? He was a conservative North Carolina states' rights type of guy, and he led the charge against Richard Nixon when it was time for Nixon to go.
Yeah.
They wanted to end the war. They decided to end the war, that the war was a lost deal and that the honor of the president wasn't worth all the people getting killed, and they got rid of him.
Well, I think it was more than that. They actually had crimes. They had the evidence, and it was like they were in court, and there had been a trial, and then somebody came out and said, "Hey, the whole thing that just happened in trial was a cover-up."
1971, when the radicals went into the FBI offices in Media, Pennsylvania, and they took out all the FBI documents, and we had final documentary proof. So in the end, what really brought Nixon down was the discovery of COINTELPRO, which was brought about by a bunch of cool radical people who went into the FBI office in the middle of the night and they stole all that stuff.
So what is the play now?
Well, we'll have to find out on Saturday, high noon, 31st Street and Broadway, the Cannabis March, and we'll see you there. And Dana Beal, you can ask Dana Beal that question, the answer to that question right then and there. So we'll see you next week. Have a great time.
And remember to watch Nat Geo tonight at 10.